More on those results and what they could tell us about 2024. Lee Carter, veteran polling expert and president of Maslansky Partners. All right, look, I've got some Trump sound bites waiting in the wind here. The president has said in the last 7 or 8 weeks that Roe versus Wade reversal, Republicans are speaking inarticulately about it. And he said, it's pursued, the Republican side, terrible state-level restrictions that could alienate much of the country. He also says that the DeSantis abortion ban in Florida was a terrible mistake. He's been saying that for months now. Is this playing out?
Absolutely. And I think we've seen it in polling for a long time. When we looked at the midterm elections last year, we said instead of a red wave, we saw a red ripple. In large part, I think that was because of abortion. When you talk to women voters, and this is really, really important because female voters are very, very much what's making up the decisions here. 9 in 10 Democrats say the primary reason they're going to go to the polls is abortion. 7 in 10 independent women say that's the primary reason they're going to vote in these elections. And when that happens, they turn out. Other people stay home. And we're seeing, even if the candidates aren't that popular, this issue is driving them polls over and over again. And Republicans simply are failing to deliver a message that is compelling or to deliver policy that appeals to people. We see over and over again, if you're banning or boycotting, you're losing. That is antithetical to what Americans want right now.
You know what I saw last night? This is not about Biden or Trump.
No.
People are going to vote Democrat on this one issue, and we've known that since June.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, this is not a surprise. And the fact that Republicans couldn't get at least on some similar messaging across the country is a surprise. They've had quite some time to know that this was coming.
It is a big surprise. And you look at Youngkin, the message out there was he was banning abortion over and over again. There were advertisements that were going after him constantly. And it was only in the last week that he tried to defend himself and say, it's not a ban. He changed that word. And it was a big mistake. Republicans have to get this right. The only one outside of Donald Trump who's talking about this is Nikki Haley. So she said, we don't have the votes without this. I'm going to speak to you as practical. In the last debate, she talked about it. We'll hear about it more tonight, I'm sure.
Remember, her numbers went up.
Absolutely.
Almost immediately after that first debate, because this was an issue that she was prepared to really go in on. All right, let's get to this. Politico with 2 ideas on what this all signals for Democrats and Joe Biden in 2024. On one hand, they say it's time for Dems to, quote, chill out. Polls are one thing, actual votes are another. These are not election returns consistent with a president whose approval numbers are struggling. But on the other hand, they write, time to freak out. The polls are absolutely right. The problem isn't the Democratic brand, it's Joe Biden. And you say what?
I say they're right on both counts. I think, look, a year is a long time. Anything and everything can happen. I do not think Joe Biden is going to be more appealing 1 year from today than he is today.
Will he be better?
No. I don't think he can't overcome what the challenges are. At the same time, though, Republicans shouldn't be taking any victory laps, shouldn't be getting overly excited, because the only people who have worse polling numbers than Joe Biden are Republicans right now. Not Donald Trump, but I'm talking about Republicans in Congress. Republicans as party right now are wildly unpopular because they seem very out of touch on issues that are very important to voters, one of them being abortion. They're not seen as pro-women. And they don't seem to have a plan to address the issues that are most. Now, a lot of people say, I think Republicans are going to do better on the economy. Very important. But the question is, what are Republicans going to deliver on the economy? They haven't made the case. They've made the case how bad things are, not how good it's going to be on the other side.
But you told me as we sat down a little while ago, you said 7 out of 10 women voters care about the subject of abortion.
Yes.
That's more than the economy, no?
Well, the primary issue that's facing day to day, people are saying, is the economy. What they're saying is going to drive them to the polls. 7 in 10 independent women say the number one thing that is going to drive them to the polls is to protect abortion and women's rights. They look at this more as a holistic view at women rather than looking at abortion. They're not going out to vote on abortion. They're voting as saying, I need to protect my right as a woman to be in charge of my decisions.
Well, Glenn Youngkin figured it out. The word ban was problematic. Unfortunately, he only had days to turn that around, and he was trying to have a red Senate and House in his state, and he didn't get it.
And we've seen this over and over again, whether it's an abortion or any of the issues. Bans and boycotts are really, really negative in this country.
The Biden White House dismissing the president's pitiful poll numbers. Also, some finger pointing going on. Yeah, they're pointing at us, the media, and all the coverage. They say it's our fault. Biden's re-election campaign sent a memo to news outlets, and here's part of it. Quote, despite the hair on fire, sky is falling tone we've seen from media coverage over the last few days, Political predictions more than a year out tend to look a little different a year later, end quote, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, and the vice president carrying the same message.
We should take these polling with a grain of salt. Just a year ago, right, back in 2022, there was the red wave that never materialized.
Let's not get distracted. Let's look at whether we have a president who has actually produced and followed through on his commitments. Joe Biden has done that. That's the measure of the man, not what's on his birth certificate in terms of his age.
Oh, maybe she's like waiting in the wings or something. We'll see. Add former Congressman Tim Ryan to the growing list of people who are calling for Democrats to call on Biden to quit.
The whole country wants a move on. And I think that it would be the right thing to do for the president to not run. What's in the best interest of the country here? And I don't mean to be so frank. I love Joe Biden. He's done a great service to this country, but now it's time for us to just take the next step.
And just a reminder, I think Democrats probably stopped listening to him when he lost to Nancy Pelosi when he wanted to become speaker, and she basically said, sit down.
Fair enough, fair enough. But, you know, 7 in 10 Americans actually agree with him. They want to see somebody besides Joe Biden running. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen for the American people because he's got about 3 weeks to step aside and have other people get on the ballots in key states. I just don't think it's practical or logistically possible. I just don't see it happening.
All right. Lee Carter, I love how you always cut to the chase. Good to see you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.